One of our nation's most impressive Chicano artists, Roberto Gutierrez, began his career by painting his neighborhood. He has expanded that into other metropolitan cities, and now we are so glad that he is here to join us to talk about his art world. Welcome, Roberto Gutierrez.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So we know that it all kind of started at self-help graphics.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Self-help graphics, as the name implies, was artists getting together because there was no venue at that time in the 70s, probably on up, where Latina artists could show their stuff. Along with the late Sister Karen Bacalero, they gathered together, they put their forces together and started teaching etching, monoprints, serigraphs, and I was very lucky. I was invited there.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of great artists who are now very well renowned,
Yes.
They started there.
Yes.
And then that world was exciting, I'm sure. At that age, you were a young kid.
Yeah.
But then as a young kid, you also went off to the military. And so that kind of took a back seat for a while, right?
Yes. I was Marine Corps for 6 years. One of those years was in Vietnam. Mm. And Vietnam, although it was a hellish place to be, it was also a beautiful country, especially the jungles. They're super green, beautiful, beautiful place.
And you didn't get to paint those?
I didn't get to paint. I was hiding and dodging bullets.
Oh my goodness. So then you come back and then you decide to attend and continue your art career.
Yes.
So you went to East Los Angeles City College,
yes,
where you did that,
yes,
but you also familiarized yourself with the Vincent Price Museum, which
yes,
you now are a big supporter of.
Yes, Vincent Price, when I knew it, was a little tiny museum, and I was a student at East LA College, and so I didn't know anything about the art at that time, never even been to a museum.
Ah.
So this was the first exposure for me, even what is called a museum.
Yes.
And your life is so full and has so many different layers. Luckily, a documentarian captured that in a new documentary called An Artist's Portrait,
yes,
by filmmaker Robertino Fonseca. So why don't we take a look?
Okay.
It wasn't until I came back from the Vietnam War that I got the chance to become an artist, which was to go to East LA Junior College. A friend of mine said to me, why don't you try self-help graphics? Why don't you try? I said, okay. And there, the world of art opened up for me.
He's constantly changing, he's constantly morphing. If you look at his work from 30 years ago, it looks very different than what he's painting now.
He did such a great job. I really got to know you a little bit better. But I wanted to talk about that military service.
Yes.
Because I read on your website, Roberto Gutierrez,
yes,
artist.com, that your art actually helps you deal with your PTSD.
Yes, it's helped me for years now, the last 40 years. It helps me to release tensions and the ghosts that are still in my head. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful release. I'm very lucky in that way. And
right.
So if there's any vets that are looking at this, learn to paint and draw.
And you don't have to be as good as Roberto Gutierrez to paint and to relieve stress, no, and to cope with PTSD. You can just, no, get, any kind of canvas and paint and just let your creativity flow.
That's exactly right.
And you have expanded beyond just drawing your neighborhood.
Yes.
You've gone to draw other metropolitan cities like San Francisco and, yes, New York, and you even went to Paris. Tell us about that journey.
It all goes back to Cástulo de la Rocha and a wonderful man by the name of Armando Duron, who was
Cástulo de la Rocha, who is the CEO of Altamed.
Of Altamed.
Yes.
Through Armando Duron, who was working with Sister Karen at the time at Self-Help Graphics, Cástulo bought a slew of my work. I was able to have this nice fat check, and I told my significant other, it's either pay the bills or go to Paris. And I think we better go to Paris. And that's how I was able to go to Paris.
And that produced a whole suite
Yes.
of drawings, which are, would you call them, when you painted the neighborhoods in the barrio, this is more of landscapes as well, but
Yes.
in a different form?
It's the same thing, using the same materials. The barrio became Paris, el barrio de Paris.
Like that.
So you've been influenced by a lot of great artists as
yes.
well, I'm assuming. Can you name some of them?
Oh, absolutely. Starting with Jose Clemente Orozco, the three big ones in Mexico, and then on to, I think, a wonderful artist who helped me really express myself, Chaim Soutine. I think he was Lithuanian. A friend of Amadeo Modigliani in the 1920s, 1914. So it was to Soutine that he really helped me to express myself.
And if Sister Karen was alive, who was a very big influence on your
Yes.
art, what would she say to where you are now?
I think she'd be very pleased. I think she came out with a good product. And as she would say, as I came into self-help graphics, I was doing abstraction there, and she would say, Roberto, why are you doing this bleep kind of stuff? Do the barrio. And so I've done the barrio.
And the barrio in New York, the
York.
barrio in San Francisco, the barrio in Paris.
Yes.
And we know that Cheech Marin is a huge fan of your artwork, right?
Yes,
He
and-
collects a lot of your pieces.
He has, and like I say, along with Armando and Castulo, I call him Saint Cheech Marin because he has had an enormous influence on a lot of us that supported us, and he got me into LACMA, Los Angeles County Museum of Art.
Well, thank goodness for those champions of the art world.
Yes.
And congratulations on a beautiful career. I love your artwork. So wonderful.
Yes.
And I'm hoping I can get me one little piece. Little one. Because he is a tremendous artist. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here,
you for having me.
Roberto.
Thank you.